You're not as safe as you think you are traveling alone until you know these things. Most people think that common sense is enough to stay safe while traveling alone, but it's not. There are situations that you can't predict that could catch you off guard. This video is for the women who know that they want to start exploring the world on their own, but have no idea where to start in terms of how to stay safe while abroad. Whether you've been putting off solo travel because you're scared or you don't know where to start, don't worry. I'm here to give you my best tips on how to travel safely and confidently. Honestly, the last thing you want on your trip is to feel stressed or unsafe because you don't have the right tools. When you're prepared, you're free to wander, explore, and enjoy your time abroad without wondering about what if this happens and dealing with that anxiety. I mean, isn't that the reason why we travel in the first place? To break free, to see new things, and to live in the moment. If you've got safety down, you can do all of that without having to worry. I'm going to show you how. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sue, and I teach women how to solo travel throughout Europe safely and confidently. So if that's your jam, make sure to subscribe and follow for more. Now let's get into it. So this video is going to be broken down into 4 main categories: pre-departure, while you're abroad, emergency preparation, and mindset and confidence. So let's get started. So number 1 on the list is getting a SIM card or an international plan with your current service provider. I say this because you do not want to land in a new city and be ready to explore, or maybe you're tired from a long day of traveling, you just want to get to your Airbnb or wherever you're staying, and you find out that your internet doesn't work and you have to now figure out how to navigate the city to get to where you need to go without a phone. And that is super stressful. I know, because it happened to me. So what you can do is get a virtual SIM card, or better known as an eSIM. And what this does is it downloads the SIM card onto your phone so that when you land, you can activate it and you'll be able to access your data. Being able to access your data while you are abroad is huge, because this is how you're going to be able to keep up with friends and family members, use your maps, use the internet. Like, it's basically the internet, which is, I think, a lot more important than being able to make phone calls, honestly. But you want to make sure you're able to make phone calls as well. So make sure you know what the emergency numbers are in the country that you're visiting. It's different than America. America, obviously, we know it's 911. It varies in other countries. So make sure you have that information on hand. I think the easiest way to try and communicate with friends and family members is through WhatsApp, because it is over data. Like, you don't have to use, I don't know, do people even still use minutes anymore? Is that a thing? But I think if you have an international plan with your cell phone provider, it might cost money to call from Europe to the US or something. So I just recommend using WhatsApp because it's free, and then you don't have to worry about any extra charges that you may not have been aware of. Another way to stay safe is to get travel insurance. This is going to guarantee that if anything happens to you, like medically, or if your baggage gets lost or something like that, that you'll be covered. Another way to stay safe is to make sure you make copies of important documents. This includes passports, licenses, credit cards, visas, anything that you think is important, you want to have a copy. Make sure you have physical copies, make sure you have digital copies that you can send to your family and friends just in case, because if something happens and let's say your passport gets stolen, it's easier to be able to go to the embassy in that country and show them a copy of your passport, whether it's digital or a physical paper copy. Okay, you want to pre-plan your transportation from the airport. So as we know, there are always a ton of people out there looking to scam. They're not actual taxis, they're not licensed, they don't have insurance, things like that. And they're just trying to rip you off from the airport. So you want to make sure that you know a good, reliable service, like a ride sharing app. G7 is a really popular one. So is Free Now. Those are used in Europe pretty commonly. You want to make sure that you know how you're getting from the airport to your destination. So this could look like pre-booking a car. It could also look into actual taxi services abroad, or even just using public transportation, which is the cheapest option, but it does also take the longest depending on what city you're in, because usually the airports are outside the city, and with public transit it can easily take an hour to get to the city center or to wherever it is that you're staying. So the next thing that you want to do is download a personal safety app. So there's one called Be Safe that I like to recommend to people, because you can share your location with family and friends. It's easy to let them know if you are in an emergency situation and need help. It has live audio and video recording on the app. And you can also use the app to trigger a fake phone call if you need to get out of a certain situation. So I highly, highly, highly recommend downloading something like this. It'll give you that extra layer of security when you are out and about. All right, moving on to the next category, while you're abroad. So let's dive into these tips. Okay, number 1, do not share your location in real time on social media, and don't share where you're staying. Don't share anything that can identify where your location is, because people are really, really resourceful and they can figure out a lot. I once saw a video of a guy who found out where this woman was staying just based off her hotel room that she was posting. That was it. He was like, I know this bed, I know these plates from like room service, I know this, I know that. And he was able to actually figure out where she was staying. And he did this as an experiment to show how dangerous it can be to post certain things about your location. I mean, just look at Kim Kardashian, for example, who got robbed in Paris because she was posting in real time where she was at. So those robbers were able to figure out where she was staying and plan their attack. So my rule of thumb for this is just save the story draft and post it later when you're gone from that place. That's it. Nobody's going to know. No one's going to know. Second tip is to choose your accommodations wisely. We want to make sure that we are staying in safe neighborhoods. And I know it's difficult when you are trying to work on a budget. I'm the type of person, I'm like, the cheaper the better. And now that I'm getting older, I'm like, maybe that's not the best approach. I'm like, I'm willing to spend a little bit more for, some peace of mind here and there. And I suggest that you do the same. Like, yes, you can choose an accommodation that's like super, super cheap, but at what cost? Like, do you want to be in a neighborhood that feels like sketchy, or do you want to feel somewhere safe where you can actually go out and not feel like something bad is going to happen to you? The best way to do this is just to research, go on YouTube, go on Google, and just kind of see like what the best neighborhoods are and then what the worst neighborhoods are, because you want to know what places to avoid. Even if you're not staying in that neighborhood, you still want to know where you should avoid. All right, tip number 3. You want to make sure that you are blending in and not drawing any attention to yourself. The biggest issue in Europe is pickpocketing. That's really like what happens the most. And these pickpocketers are absolute like geniuses. Like, they are so smart. Like, it is a profession for them. They are very, very good at what they do. So the last thing you want to do is to draw attention to yourself, to make yourself look like a tourist in any way, shape, or form, because then you will be a target to them. So you want to avoid wearing like super flashy clothes or like carrying a really expensive camera or really expensive jewelry or things like that. Like, just kind of keep it low key. Try and act like a local, just blend in. So as long as you follow that tip to try and blend in, like, you'll be fine. All right, we are making headway. We are halfway through. Who knew? How great is this? I hope you guys are learning something really valuable, because these are some pretty good tips. And as a solo traveler, like, I live by these rules. So I'm telling you, so you guys can stay safe. Also, if you guys are enjoying this and you are learning something and it is valuable, I want to let you know that I have a free resource. It's a safety handbook that has 10 of my top tips, apart from these, to help you stay safe while you're abroad. So if that's something that you're interested in, I will put the link in the description and you can go ahead and download it for free. All right, let's get back to it. All right, emergency preparation. Let's go. Okay, so this is what you need to know. Tip number 1, have a list of emergency contacts on hand. And I don't just mean like your mom, your dad, your friends. No, 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 no. Like I said earlier, you want to know what the emergency numbers are for like the police, the fire department. You want to know where the nearest hospital is, an urgent care, a health center. There are just so many different things that you want to know where these things are, especially in relation to where you're staying. I recommend keeping a physical copy of this and a digital copy as well. And like I said, you can send this information to family and friends. I recommend like putting together like a Google Doc or something in Canva that has all of these things so that you can store it all in one place and everybody has access to it and it's easy to get to, so that if you need it, it's there. Actually, maybe I should make something like that. I think that would be really helpful now that I'm thinking about it. If you guys think I should make something like that, let me know in the comments below. And maybe I will. Let me know. Only if the people want it. All right, number 2, learn basic phrases. I know you probably hear this from so many different travel influencers and YouTubers and stuff like that, but this could literally like save your life. Like, you want to know how to say things like, excuse me, I need help, police, hospital, I'm hurt, like things like that. Like, you want to make sure you know that in the language, because if something's wrong and you need somebody to help you, obviously, if you don't speak the language fluently, like, that's not an issue, but knowing these little phrases can determine how this person will be able to help you and get you the appropriate care that you need. All right, number 3, carry a backup credit card and cash. First of all, when you go out, don't take everything. Don't take all your credit cards, all your cash. No, that's not what you want to do. When you're carrying cash, it's best to use a money belt. It goes underneath your clothes and people won't be able to rob you because they're not going to know that it's there. If you use credit cards, I would recommend just bringing 1, maybe 2, and then leaving others at the hotel or wherever you're staying. Because if somebody steals your credit card or your debit card, you still want to be able to have access to funds in some way. So I think that's the best way to do that. All right, we are on to the last category, mindset and confidence. I just want to say I am so proud of you for sticking through and learning all this. And I hope you guys are taking notes because this is all really, really great information. Like, I'm not trying to brag, but they're good tips to help you guys stay safe because I care. And I want you guys to have a really, really fun, successful trip without feeling like something bad is going to happen to you. And the more that you follow these tips, the less, hopefully, the plan is the less anxiety you will have when you're traveling abroad. But honestly, the only way to like help ease that anxiety is to just kind of go do it so you can see that it's not as scary as you may think. So let's go over this last category, mindset and confidence. All right, so tip number one, empower yourself through knowledge. The reason why we are scared of certain things is because we don't know enough about them, right? There's a fear of the unknown. So the less you know about a place, the more scared you might feel, especially if you are traveling solo abroad for the very first time. There's a lot of information to know. It's very overwhelming. And I mean, that's why I'm here to help you guys. But I understand what that feels like because I was there too. I was there too. But I have found that doing as much research as you can will help alleviate those fears, those concerns. Like I said, the anxiety, like it will really, really help because you will know a lot more about a place, like where to go, where not to go, what the currency is, what the local phrases are, what the customs are, like things like that. Having all of those things in your arsenal will really, really set you up for success. Because at the end of the day, you want to feel empowered to be able to go on this trip alone and feel like you have the confidence to tackle anything that comes your way because you're prepared. And I mean, you won't be able to plan for every single thing that will go wrong, but knowing that you have the right mindset to get through anything will go a long way. All right, here's the last tip. And I know this might, be a little triggering for my people pleasers out there, but I guarantee you it's a very valuable one to learn. Practice saying no. People, places, things, situations, everything. Like you could start that right now. Practice saying no to the things that you don't want to do, things that don't light you up, things that aren't a full-bodied yes. And I'm saying this because you're going to meet people while you're abroad. And you might have to say no to people sometimes. Like, for example, if someone's like, "Hey, are you traveling alone?" Say no. Or like, "Hey, you want to like go do this thing or whatever?" And it's like somebody that you kind of feel like a little sketch about, say no. Like practice saying no. Like you have to really have these boundaries in place because when you're abroad, it's difficult because everything is so fun and new and exciting and your senses are all heightened and you're like on cloud 9. Like it's kind of easy to let our guards down because we're so excited about everything, but we have to make sure that we're still trying to stay safe. And by saying no to the things that you know that you don't want to do or you don't feel good about or anything like that, without feeling guilty of hurting someone's feelings, because that I've been there too where I'll like just talk to somebody that I don't want to talk to just because I feel bad or because I don't want to be rude or anything like that. Guys, be rude, say no. It could literally be a matter of life or death. And I'm not saying that to be dramatic, but like women are too nice. We're too nice to men when we shouldn't be. We should be able to say no, and that is a complete sentence, and they understand that, and then we go our separate ways. But it's not always the case. So sometimes you have to be okay saying no, know that you are protecting yourself by doing this. So you just got to learn how to stand up for yourself. That's it. And like I said, you could start that now. If you need to, use ChatGPT to practice. Be like, "Hey, ChatGPT, like, I'm trying to work on setting better boundaries and saying no to people. Can you do like some role play with me?" I think it's a really great idea, honestly. I use ChatGPT for everything because like it's just amazing. So that's a good way to try and practice without having to actually like speak to someone. All right, guys, those are some of my top tips to help you stay safe abroad, things that you need to know to make your trip as successful as possible and without the worrying and the anxiety and the overwhelm and all of these things. This will help you feel safe and happy and confident to explore on your own. If you guys want me to do a part 2, let me know. I have a ton of these tips. I have so many. I just didn't want to make this video super, super long. But if you guys want a part 2, let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more things solo travel and inspiration. And if there's any other things that you want to see me talk about in the future regarding solo travel, drop them in the comments below. I got you. All right. Thanks so much for sticking around. You guys are awesome. I will see you next time. Bye. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give me a Be sure to like it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to, because it is over date. All right, we are making way. All right, we are making way.